what's going on, everybody? UltimatDjz here from the Talking Trek podcast and the Teaching Trek YouTube here with another ArcFall video. Gosh, it feels like it's been a long time since we were together here on the YouTubes. But here we are again. It is another ArcFall, and I've got information for you. So get on your thinking caps. Take a look right there. Is everybody caught up? What a good season, isn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, that is Admiral Picard, and this is Legacy Part 1. All right, here we go. So we're going to begin with the new officers. As we most typically do, let's kick off with Admiral Picard. Y'all hop in here. This is Admiral Picard, or what we are going to fondly and lovingly refer to as Old Man Picard. He is the epic officer this month, and in the captain's chair, he has a percentage chance to apply morale, but for 3 rounds. However, the ability does have the chance to proc each and every round, so it's a 3-round lasting of morale, and you've got a chance every single round to proc that. Synergy is going to boost that up a little bit, if indeed you had some. This is a PvP primarily a PvP officer, all right? And he is probably, I would imagine, going to be in the captain's chair because you've got morale proccing in the captain's chair. His officer ability is to increase weapon damage of your ship while fighting player explorers. What we're actually seeing here are potential adaptations to Strike Team. In this case, quite possibly an interceptor, maybe going against the triangle to fight other explorers or something of that nature. The damage boost actually looks pretty significant. It starts out at 500% and will max out at Tier 5 at 3,000% damage increase, which is pretty daggone good. But, of course, as an epic, it'll take a long time for most of us to see some of those later promotions, but the damage, even at Tier 1, 500%, is going to be noticeable. But, yeah, man, 3,000. Wowza. Your rare officer this month is going to be rare Beverly Crusher, who has a below-deck ability. But first, we'll talk about her officer ability. When hit by an enemy PvE hostile, Beverly will increase your crit damage by X percentage, and this will be cumulative. So each and every shot you take, you're going to be able to improve crit damage. Does this sound familiar? Anybody? Remember Hugh? Every shot you take, you're getting crit chance, and now Beverly under deck. This is a bridge officer. Every shot increasing crit damage. I can see this officer being very, very well paired with Hugh under deck and may provide a clue as to the nature of another piece of content this month, as well as maybe even possibly the series, but we'll postulate about that a little bit later. Her below-deck ability comes actually as a hostile grinder, specifically, in my mind, probably for G4 players, but with some possible benefit to some of the G5 crowd. But that is increasing the drop rate of broken parts from hostiles, which will allow a larger inventory and therefore larger refines to hopefully yield higher payouts of uncommon and rare parts for your ship upgrades. All in all, I see the rare actually having a much more real and quicker benefit to the larger community rather than the Epic Picard, simply due to the nature of Epic versus rare sourcing. But this rare actually looks like it can have some real tangible benefit for players immediately upon the unlock. Sourcing this month will be relatively traditional in at least 2 solo leaderboards that will contain both of these officers. There could end up being another one scheduled, but as of now, we have solo leaderboards for both Picard and Beverly running in the first 2 weekends. Beverly as a rare is not guaranteed through solo milestones this month, but early math does seem to indicate that with the $20 battle pass and a top 25 finish in one of the 2 solo leaderboards, you should be able to earn enough shards to unlock rare Beverly Crusher. So, what hostiles would Beverly be good against? Well, let's take a look. We've talked about what Hugh was good against, maybe some of the Jem'Hadar and things like that. Or possibly it could be a brand spanking new hostile. It is possibly a new hostile, which I don't have an image of. They're called freebooters. Not much actually known about these mysterious hostiles yet, other than we know that they have hundreds of millions of hull. Chances are, I'm going to be willing to bet that these hostiles are not going to have wildly high DPR, though we don't necessarily know just yet. We're going to have to dig in a little bit, but hence some of these hints about these being HAL targets. But if you don't have him, I can tell you right off the bat that high yield damage that Beverly can offer you is going to be the way. Damage is it. Hull breach, massive crit damage, crit chance, enter Hugh into the lower deck, and a potential pairing with Beverly. And looking at hull breach and other types of damage output officers, these hostiles will be very, very thick in their hull health, and they're going to need to be chewed down with high damage output. There's more clues to that coming up here in a little bit. These hostiles are going to have their own daily that will feed you reputation into a brand new faction called the X-Borg. That's it right there. You can't see it. Woo! That's it. This is the X-Borg faction. We'll talk a little bit more in detail about that coming up. Interestingly, within this X-Borg faction, there will be a research tree with free-to-play research available that will introduce very, very early stages of mastery styled concept, rather, that will allow these freebooters to satisfy dailies in other areas of the game, including faction, swarm, and potentially a few others. These dailies for freebooters will be dropping reputation in the new X-Borg faction, as well as a stash of these X-Borg faction credits, which can then be used inside the X-Borg refinery, exchanged for bundles containing some ship blueprints or research credits for use inside the brand spanking new X-Borg research tree. This research tree is kind of the best of the station tree on steroids a little bit. We're talking about some of the best researches in the game in the form of efficiencies for repair cost, research, materials, ship parts, and things like that, and even some loot gain, swarm biomineral payout, which we kind of take for granted. We don't talk about the biominerals that much because they're so teeny tiny. Well, how about free-to-play research to increase those things by multiple thousands of percent? You're going to be able to increase the biominerals, actually maybe making them somewhat worth it. There's isogen efficiency research, among others, in this new tree. This research tree is all about cost improvement and efficiency, and therefore should be, hopefully, relatively rewarding for players. But, there's always a catch, isn't there? Not only is this new X-Borg faction not unlocked until Ops 38, but this research tree will be limited to a daily drip through the exchange, and there's no way currently to grind it any faster. Of course, packs will be available, and as always, as a warning, there will be research solo leaderboards for this tree, so do not start early and complete this research wisely, as the only way to do it faster than the daily exchange is currently with the acquisition of packs. Speaking of efficiency, there will be a new building appearing in your base this month, and yes, the same rules apply. All right, same rules apply. This is the new building. It's called the Mess Hall. And when I say same rules apply, there will be an event for upgrading it, so don't get too silly too early. This is the Mess Hall. And the good news on this feature is that it actually unlocks at Ops 15. But for the first time ever, folks, this does not rely on your Ops level to upgrade it, meaning that the level of this building could be higher than your Ops. It's interesting, but it does have a different prerequisite. A new calculation has been introduced into the game that will give you your total combined fleet officer level. This is basically calculated by summing the levels of all of your officers. Essentially, for example, maybe you have a tier 5 officer, but he's only level 5. Well, that would count as a 5, right? Now, there are going to there will be some different weights as far as epics being worth more than rares, being worth more than uncommon, et cetera, down the line. But all of them are going to be contributing points to this officer level so to speak, of your entire officer carousel by summing up all these different numbers. There actually could be a reason this month to upgrade some of those lower officers that you kind of skipped out on. All right. But every officer in your carousel is going to contribute to this statistic, and that statistic will be used as the prerequisite for various levels to upgrade this mess hall. It will also use a building part to upgrade it. It's called a replicator ration. It's a new building currency to upgrade the building that will come again in a daily drip, setting a rock solid time gating to upgrading this building unless you decide to spend to level it up. What will it do as you level it? More efficiencies and improvements. It will upgrade officer statistics, research speed, and titanium cost efficiency for ship components with every single level of the building. More interesting to note, this building has a cap of level 99, further reminding you that this building is not limited by ops. 4 new primes will make their way into the game. The first in the combat tree, increasing weapon damage for by 200% for all ships. Pretty straightforward. And again, another indication as to what the key metric is for these new freebooter hostiles. It's going to be high damage output. Oh, by the way, look here. I had a picture of the new Borg research tree. It's going to go there. So don't know where Starship is. I guess it's on down, but yeah, right there. Borg. Let's see. The second prime that's coming out this month could have some people excited. A new prime for repair cost efficiency. And note that they actually increased the bonus to 200% on this one. So some people may be relatively pleased with that one. The next 2 primes are generational. They will appear here inside the Borg research tree. One being for G4 ship parts efficiency and the other for G5 parts efficiency. However, in my humble opinion, disappointing with the bonuses as they are only 50% efficiency increases. And while agreed that will be helpful, it's disappointing not to see this as a standard 100% prime like most of the others, as parts bottlenecks continue to be a plague in the mid to upper G4 environments. 2 new refits are out this month and will be made available during various holiday events, the first being St. Patrick's Day. So you'll see the introduction of the new green fuchsia skin, which only pretty much makes the fuchsia into a Devore by increasing the mining rate by 200,000% on raw latinum. It's also going to unlock a new refinery bundle for fuchsia parts and more latinum. The second refit is a projectile this month and will be called, here it is, the Borg Cannon. Yes. Those are little Borg balls that you're going to be throwing at people. You're going to be shooting Borg spheres at people, and it boasts the ability of a hull health buff of 25%. This will be made available during the April Fool's series of events. Both of these refits this month expected to be available in in-app purchases. You will find a number of officer shards in this month's version of the free battle pass, though, which is kind of nice. You'll find during events, and we'll have a lot of breakdown on the events. Hopefully have an event guide calendar out early this month. But you will see there's a great deal of focus being placed on officers, catching up, promoting, leveling some of these old officers will be the metrics even in some events, including leaderboards this month. So if you've been sitting on a huge stack of officer XP, be happy. This is your month to blow it all. There will be 9 total days of ticketed events again this month, so that's always a nice thing. And we're seeing 2 slated runs of Jelly Brawl and 1 of Parabellum, as well as a Jellyfish Pursuit leaderboard later in the month. A few new avatars and hailing frequencies making their way into the game. Here, let me show you a couple of the ones that I'm kind of liking. Looky there. That is a Borg Tribble. Most certainly, probably, we can assume, for maybe something April Fool's coming, that will be out as well. Also, we have number 1. Do you guys remember number 1? What a beautiful pit bull he was. Not only is this avatar going to be available, folks, but if I'm not mistaken, yes, this will also be a hailing frequency this month. He's so cute. He kind of cocks his head. Normally, I'm not a dog guy, but I do love the snuggly-litness of lovable, friendly pit bulls. You also are going to see this little character right here. This is a hailing frequency that's going to be available. Some kind of weird little mangy alien dog mutt. Smells bad and leaves wet, muddy paw prints all over your freshly clean carpet, things like that. We've also got a Shatner Kirk hailing frequency that's coming out, as well as several others that we can show you about later on throughout the month. They'll be available in your carousel as you get your games back from maintenance. Community, there you go. Legacy Part 1 is the name of the arc. Almost kind of an anthology arc, it feels like. Really looking back and looking like, I know it's going to sound crazy, looking like it actually has some real potential to help newer players focus on officer acquisition and catch-up while introducing ex-Borg for the 38-plus crowd with new efficiency research, which looks like at the early levels could have some real impact, possibly for some G5 players as well. At first glance, I'm thinking that this feels simple, right, as far as a feature goes, but maybe that's kind of what we've been looking for, a simpler feature rollout, while maybe seemingly for one of the first times ever offering a little bit of a variance in targeting of players at different levels in the game, officer acquisition and for the younger players, and some new research and efficiencies, as well as a potential early mastery model for some of the veterans of the game. I am cautiously optimistic about how this arc turns out, but if the elder generation of players are going to be satisfied with a simple arc chock full of efficiency improvements or cost reduction agents for multiple other areas of the game. Community, how do you feel? Is this the simple arc that we kind of needed to kind of get our focus back? Can Scopely work on the engineering side of things while we have a simple, efficiency-rich month and a great callback to previous arcs, older officers, and faster catch-up content? This Furry Feline hopes that Scopely orchestrates this well, because on the surface, it would appear that Scopely has heeded some of the feedback regarding the desire of younger players getting faster catch-up mechanics within arcs, while the veteran players look at exploring more important cost reductions and improved efficiencies. Leave your questions and comments in the comment section down below the video, and let's see what you think. I am UltimatDjz. I'd like to thank you for watching our video for the March arc launch. It is Legacy Part 1. Please be sure to subscribe, like the video, smash your cute little paw into the bell, and share with your team. We really do appreciate that. Thanks again very much for being a part of our community. We're going to catch up with you soon. Hope you enjoyed the video. We will talk to you again here very soon on the Teaching Trek YouTube. Meow for now, everybody. Have a good one. Meow. Bye.